Man, we've been getting video game news for Avatar back to back to back. From the story way back about a potential MMO RPG to the recent release of the mobile game Avatar Generations, and now a big time title dropping on PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, and PC. And the best thing about it? It will feature the White Lotus during the end of the 100-Year War. But there's one thing about this news that worries me. Let's discuss. Hey folks, my name is Antoine Bandele, your resident geek, giving you theories and discussion for all things Avatar, and today we'll be diving into the news of the new game Avatar: The Last Airbender, Quest for Balance, in what seems to be the first AAA title from Avatar Studios. Or is it? First off, what the heck is Quest for Balance? Well, first off, the rumors for this game stirred up a few days ago when it was listed on Japanese websites and Amazon pages. But the thing about it was that there was no details attached to it. Only that it was a video game from Avatar Studios and Game Mill coming to all major video game platforms. This was significant enough that many of the major video game news outlets reported on the game's early listing. And this happens quite often within the video game industry, with a lot of new games being revealed via early listings on retailers, especially on Amazon and Walmart. Well, today, Avatar News just broke that we will indeed be getting a new Avatar game, and they've seen exclusive footage and stills. They described what they saw as something similar to the cel-shaded look of Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. In fact, this same style was used for the Legend of Korra game back in 2014, and it's seen a lot of use with other animated and anime-like properties, much like the additions of Naruto and Dragon Ball Z in their respective games, notably their appearances in Fortnite. But Avatar News claims that the lighting in the game in particular is more epic fantasy like Breath of the Wild, rather than cartoony, which is a good sign for production quality. While I am a major fan of the Legend of Korra game, it definitely felt like a low-budget, under $20 type game, not just because of its length, which was pretty short, but because of its production quality. The cutscenes had pretty shoddy animation, for example, but the gameplay itself was very fun and engaging. By the way, I just beat the game on its hardest difficulty a few weeks back, which you can totally watch here. But to hear that this new Quest for Balance game is seemingly using production quality that is compared to Zelda is great news to hear. Y'all know I have been asking for a big-time video game release from Avatar Studios, and these new games they have coming out. My dream game would be a Ghost of Tsushima style game with an Avatar overlay. I mean, just think of it. The different katana styles in that game could easily be transferred to different bending types, just like the Legend of Korra video game switched between bending styles. But I digress. This new game apparently will follow the White Lotus at the tail end of the 100-Year War, the same time period of the original show. The premise of the game is that the White Lotus are hanging out around a Game of Pi show, retelling war stories and the like, with Paku detailing the events of Book 1 Water, Bumi taking over for Book 2 Earth, and Iroh finishing the story off with Book 3 Fire. In the game, it seems we'll be able to play as multiple characters throughout each story, including characters not within the White Lotus. For example, the exclusive footage and screenshots Avatar News got to see featured Avatar Aang. While the game is being compared to Breath of the Wild in style, it will not share in the open world that game had. Instead, it seems this game will be more linear in nature, with one-off stories from each White Lotus master in self-contained stories. What's even more interesting about this game is that it's an RPG in the truest sense. By that, I mean the stories aren't going to be exactly canon, with a few alternate looks and histories, as we are being navigated by the unreliable narrators of the White Lotus. I mean, I can totally see someone like Bumi embellishing his side of the story. In fact, I just had a thought. The only way we know Bumi liberated Omashu on his own in the original series was through his own POV. We might not have the real story of how he did it since, of course, he is an unreliable narrator. That's actually an interesting thought, but again, I digress. So, with all this news, I should totally be excited, right? We're getting a proper role-playing game in the Avatar: The Last Airbender timeline, featuring the White Lotus as our shepherds into this story. What's there to be worried about? Well, it has to do with the release date of this project. So the other big story Avatar News dropped today was not only the confirmation of this game, but also the release date. At the time of this recording, it's August 19th. Right now, it seems the game will drop in November 8th. That's 11 weeks from now, less than 2 months from now, a mere 81 days. And that tidbit of information makes my heart race, and not in a good way. But why? That should be great news. The game is coming out super soon. A lot of video game fans hate it when a studio announces their game and then releases it 6 years later. I'm looking at you, Final Fantasy VII Remake. I think many fans would prefer it if video game companies kept things under wrap and then market the heck out of it once the game is complete. And that could be what's happening here, but I'm doubtful. Even with the Legend of Korra video game, which was a short 10 to 15 hour game if you're a completionist, had a turnaround of 4 months. Not 2 months like this Quest for Balance game, but 4 months. This worries me because it means that this game might not be as big as I wish it was. This will likely be a AA title rather than a AAA title. Something more similar to an indie game rather than a full-on big-time release like a God of War or Hogwarts Legacy. Now, that's not to say this game can't be good. I mean, just look at the noise Sifu made earlier in the year with its game. Also, how cool would it be to have a Sifu-inspired game for Avatar? There are so many good things you can do with video games in Avatar, and I feel like there's so much being squandered by not getting those kinds of video games. But the thing about Sifu, its initial announced trailer dropped 11 months before its release, and that can be considered a pretty high-tier AA game. Best case scenario, this was just a really good secret Avatar Studios kept under wraps and are about to reveal to us and then drop in a mere few weeks. Even if the production quality might not be on par with bigger games that we have, the gameplay and story could still be very incredible. But the logical part of my brain is flaring off with alarm bells about this possibly being a rushed project, or at the very least, a title that will feel more indie than big budget. And to be honest with you, I'm sort of tired of Avatar only getting the indie treatment. I truly want at least one of these new games to stand shoulder to shoulder with Breath of the Wild or Ghost of Tsushima. And the developer behind this game is Game Mill, the folks who brought us, Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl. And don't lie, some of you watching this video right now completely forgot that that game even existed until I just mentioned it, didn't you? I do not want that for Avatar, and I'm tired of it getting the short end of the stick in the video game industry. And that's it. What do you think about this new Quest for Balance video game? Do you think my worries and concerns are valid, or do you believe this game will be fine, whatever it is? I really hope it's a great game, even if it is a AA title instead of a AAA title, but I'm also sort of done seeing Avatar not getting the full backing and budgets it deserves. I want to be excited for an Avatar game like I'm excited for something like Hogwarts Legacy. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more Avatar content just like this. I'll catch you on the next one, and as always, peace, love, and remember, be water, my friends.